Hello magical people, welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be a very different type of video. I am currently 26 weeks pregnant, which means I'm about my 6th month of pregnancy if you don't know the weeks. And so that's why I've been MIA along with the car accidents, which I have both of those up on my on my channel as well. So if I sound out of breath or anything like that, that's why. But I kind of wanted to go over what my first trimester was like and what it was like finding out that I was pregnant. And then as I go along, I wanted to continue to make some of these videos as well as my nursery reveal and things like that. You are getting a little bit of a sneak peek of it here. We are in the nursery. So anyway, I do have a notepad here because pregnancy brain is so real. I had no idea. So I wrote things down so I could remember. We can kind of go over it. It's in semi-logical form, so without further ado, this is kind of my story of how I found out I was pregnant, as well as how my first trimester went. So I had taken, Joe and I had been trying for a couple of months, and I had taken 2 pregnancy tests, and they were both negative. So I didn't really think anything of it. I tended to over-test because my period's not regular, so I was disappointed, pretty sure that it wasn't happening for that month, but wasn't discouraged yet. And then about a week later, I noticed my boobs were incredibly sore. I mean, like nothing I've ever had before. And we were getting ready to go out that night, which, you know, I might have had a drink. So I thought, before we go, let me just take another pregnancy test. So I did, and instantly it showed that I was pregnant. And I will go ahead and insert in a picture here. So that was crazy. And I had this whole elaborate scheme of how I was going to make Joe do this like scavenger hunt and find out how and discover that we were pregnant. But I was so shocked because I already was like pretty sure that it wasn't happening that month, that I just ran in here, which was his office at the time, and I just was like, "Are you in the middle of the game?" And he was like, "No." And I shoved the pregnancy test into his hand, and that's how we found out we were pregnant. So we were trying, this was something that we wanted, so we were really excited. We just weren't expecting for it to happen. We tried twice and it happened on the second try. So we're very, very lucky that that was an easy process for us. So my first couple of weeks of pregnancy, I was so hungry and all I wanted was hamburgers. And I usually am a slow eater and I take my time, but I could like finish before everyone else at the table, and I was just craving hamburgers all the time. And that was really weird because I'm not that I'm not a meat eater, but I don't eat like a ton of meat, so it was just weird. Then after those first 2 weeks were over, I got the morning sickness, which for me was 24/7, 7 days a week, no matter what happens, sickness. But mine was nausea, but not to the level where I ever got sick. It was just constantly there. So I drank a lot of Sprite to kind of keep my stomach calm, and a lot of like little nuts and nut mixes and things like that. So a lot of little things. So I luckily never got sick, but it was something I had to deal with that was kind of 24/7, never went away, and it wasn't that fun. And that lasted until probably about week 12 to 13 for me. So for me, Sprite was my answer. Some people like ginger ale, some people like the popsicles and things like that, but Sprite was I needed to have Sprite on me at all times, otherwise I just had to lay down because I just felt so awful. So then I started a journal which I think is something everyone should do if you're that kind of a person. This is not it, this is just kind of a memo, but that way it has like the first month where we didn't get pregnant and how I felt about it, and it has all the things, all my appointments and all that stuff, and it's just kind of nice for me to remember, and so that someday our baby can go back and say, oh, this is what happened to mom, during that time, and I can continue it on when they're here so that I can say, you walked today or whatever it is. So I think it's pretty cool and kind of a neat way to remember what's happening. Sleepiness. I was tired, like so tired all the time, and I could nap anywhere, I never nap. I can go forever. So that was unusual for me. So if I wasn't nauseous 24/7, I was sleepy 24/7. But all that's normal. Then I had my first doctor appointment, which was not with my actual doctor. It was with someone else because she was on an emergency leave. And I had no idea what to expect or what was going on, and he basically went over what to expect and kind of how to expect it. Then I met with a secondary nurse, and she was like, here's like basically a booklet, and if you have any questions, we could kind of take more time with her. In the meantime, he did some things that I was definitely not expecting at my first appointment. TMI, putting it out there. He checked to see my vagina and how great it is and or not great. And then he told me that I could deliver a 10-pound baby because I had a great vagina. So, yay! And I wasn't expecting that, and I didn't really like him. Joe remembers it a little bit differently, but I kind of remember him insinuating that I shouldn't sit on the couch and eat a bag full of cookies like I usually do. And I was kind of like, what? Oh, in my first trimester, I also lost a bunch of weight. I don't think that's necessarily because I wasn't eating, because I still was eating, just maybe not as much. But I think it's also that I was drinking a lot more water. I'd cut out any alcoholic beverages, and I'd cut out soda, so other than Sprite. But for the majority, I'd cut out those things, and so I think that's kind of what caused the weight loss. So that was kind of nice. It didn't affect me or baby in any kind of bad way. I didn't lose it extremely, but it did happen to me, and it can happen to a lot of people. Then I started getting headaches a lot, and I realized mostly it's because of lack of water. I'm used to not drinking a ton of water, and now I needed to drink, I think the doctor said like 3 liters a day. And so now I keep a water bottle and just constantly drinking water, but make sure like my water intake was up, and that had to happen. Otherwise I had these bad, almost migraine like headaches that were not fun. Then at the first appointment, they also confirmed the pregnancy with an internal ultrasound, which was pretty cool. We got to see like a little jelly bean, and he was moving all around, and that was neat and not painful, didn't hurt at all. It was not a big deal. And then I think just before my gender reveal, which was I did almost at week 12, I had spotting, and that was really scary, and it wasn't a lot, but I didn't know what was a lot and what was normal or anything like that. So I had my husband look at the web, because I didn't want to go down that pitfall of what it could have been and all that stuff. And it was scary. Even though for me it was hardly any, it was still really scary. And then we called the on-call nurse, and she said, it's fine, and these are the things to look out for. And at that point, if that happens, call us. So it's just really scary, because at that point in time, if something were to happen, there's nothing they can do. So that was really scary, and I kind of hid that from a lot of people, and it caused a lot of stress and made me not work very well for a hot minute. But then I talked to my sister-in-law, and she helped me through it. She's had 3 kids, so it kind of was like nice to talk to someone who's been there, done that kind of thing. And that way I was, comforted by the fact that it's normal, it does happen, and all that kind of stuff. So overall, it sounds like a lot because it was a lot of changes, but overall, my first trimester was relatively easy. I didn't have crazy morning sickness, like I never got sick. And it wasn't that bad. I do have one recommendation if people are into reading books still physically. I got the What to Expect When You're Expecting book at a used bookstore, and I tried to make sure I got like one from this era instead of like the 70s. I don't like it that much. It's more clinical, and if you have like a specific thing that's happening, you have to look it up in a different way, and not my favorite. I really like the Mama Natural Week by Week Guide to Pregnancy and Childbirth. This was more my style because it was more like she was talking to me as a friend, and she went over like all the things that I needed and I had questions on, and it was kind of in a funny way, and it made me feel more personable, and it was better. Her husband also writes little anecdotes in here, and that's really funny. She also has recipes in here for different things. If you are a natural person, like I'm trying to be. So it was just, I like this one a lot more if people are looking for suggestions on things like that. So overall, that is my first trimester and how we found out we were pregnant. I'll be filming my second trimester here very soon. I think, depending on which app I use, I'm out of it or I'm just about out of it. I am using an app to track it because it's just fun to get those little messages and say like, "Yay, Mom, you're 23 weeks pregnant." You're like, yeah, There's also a really funny one for dads out there, if your husband's into it. My husband won't get it, but I think it's pretty funny because it's like lumberjack themed and all that, so it's more his level. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please put them down below and I will answer every single one. And if you have any suggestions for the next video, please let me know what you would like to see. And I hope you all have a magical day. Bye!